Hello trucker family, this is Kevin with the Trucker Side. We're back with our weekly loads video, the best loads that we book throughout the week. I do want everybody to watch all the way to the end because this is the best week we have had this year. I'm not even going to call it the best week of the year. This has been the best week of many years back, probably back to some, I don't know, 2021, late 2020, 2021, early 2022. So yeah, make sure you follow all the way to the end so you can see the good work that everybody's been doing. Good job everybody, by the way, dispatch, good job on all the drivers. You have been doing a great work. We'll start off with Oscar, always a hard runner. Oscar is hauling a dry van. He had 3 loads this week. Started off in Middleton, Tennessee, going to Frederick, Colorado. 1,188 loaded miles, paying $5,000, $4.21 per mile. Very solid load. 42,000 pounds of sorbent pads. Don't ask me what those are. Next load, the second load of the week, Colorado Springs, Colorado to Shreveport, Louisiana. 915 loaded miles, 97 empty miles, paying $1,400 for the rate of $153 per mile. Not the best rate out there, but getting out of Colorado, not that bad either. 42,000 pounds of raw materials. Then for the third load of the week, Spring Hill, Louisiana to Kimball, Nebraska. 1,042 loaded miles, 46 empty miles, paying $5,200. Very nice, $4.99 per mile. Light load, 30,000 pounds of cardboard. All in all, 7 days of work, Friday to Friday. Oscar grossed $11,600 for the truck for 3,145 loaded miles, 143 empty miles, totaling 3,288 miles for the average of 369 on the loaded miles and 353 on the total miles. Excellent job, Oscar. Great job dispatch. You have been doing good. Next off we have Michael. Michael is hauling a reefer trailer. He had 4 loads this week, 6-day week. Started off in Kansas City, Kansas, going to Frankfort, Kentucky. 561 loaded miles, 61 empty miles, paying $3,500. Yes, $3,500, $6.24 per mile. Very good rate, very good rate. Light load, 23,000 pounds of frozen food. Temperature set between -10 and 0. Second load of the week, Lancaster, Kentucky, going to Conway, Arkansas. 575 loaded miles, 55 empty miles, paying $1,600 for the average of $278 per mile. Another fairly light load, 38,000 pounds of frozen beef. Temperature set at 0 degrees continuous. Third load of the week, Little Rock, Arkansas, going to Batesville, Mississippi. 168 loaded miles. Pay attention to this one. I'm going to say it again. 168 loaded miles, 33 empty miles, paying $1,700. That is $10.12 a mile. Very, very good load. Very solid work. Also light, 20,000 pounds of frozen French fries. Temperature set at -10. There we go, French fries. And then the last load of the week, Memphis, Tennessee to Harrisonville, Missouri. 414 loaded miles, 63 empty miles, paying $3,500. $8.45 per mile. Yes, $8.45 per mile. What a rate. What a great week. 36,000 pounds of food products. Temperature set at 30 degrees on this load. So to sum up the week, for 6 days of work, Friday to Thursday, Michael grossed $10,300 for the truck for 1,718 loaded miles, 212 empty miles, totaling just 1,930 miles for the week at $6 on the loaded miles and $5.34 on the total. Excellent performance. Very good loads, very good performance. Michael, very good dispatch. Next off we have Reginald. Reginald is hauling a dry van. He had 3 loads this week. Started off in La Porte, Texas, going to St. James, Missouri. 797 loaded miles, paying $3,000 for the average of $376 per mile. 40,000 pounds of consumer goods. Second load of the week was a 1-pick 2-dropper. Paragould, Arkansas, going to Longview, Texas, and Amarillo, Texas. 872 loaded miles, 198 empty miles, paying $3,800 for the average of 436 per mile. Light load, 14,000 pounds of packaging. And then the last load of the week was also a 1-pig 2-dropper, picking up in Portales, New Mexico, going to Layton, Utah, and Eugene, Oregon. 1,605 loaded miles, 122 empty miles, paying $5,900 for the average of 368 per mile, 37,000 pounds of food products. All in all, Friday to Friday, Reginald grossed $12,700 for the truck. Yes, that is a very high number, $12,700 for 3,274 loaded miles, 320 empty miles, totaling 3,594 miles, for the average of 388 on the loaded miles and 353 on the total. Outstanding work, very well done, very well, Reginald, good job dispatch. Next off we have Patrick. Patrick had 5 loads this week, no easy job hauling 5 loads in a week, but Patrick's been doing great, solid work. Started off in Chalmette, Louisiana, going to Nashville, Tennessee, 527 loaded miles, paying $2,000 for the average of 380 per mile, 44,000 pounds of sugar. Second load of the week, Lebanon, Tennessee, going to Grove City, Ohio, 356 loaded miles, 31 empty miles, paying $2,200 for the average of 618 per mile, 40,000 pounds of tires and tire tubes. Third load of the week, 3 out of 5, Waterford, Ohio to Troy, Indiana, 375 loaded miles, 105 empty miles, paying $2,800. Yep, $2,800, 747 per mile. Very good load, 43,000 pounds of metal products. Great work. Fourth load of the week, Troy, Indiana to Mobile, Alabama, 607 loaded miles, no empty miles, picked up in the same place where the previous load delivered, paying $1,980 for the average of 326 per mile, 43,000 pounds of coolant. And then the last load of the week, Mobile, Alabama to Columbus, Ohio, 824 loaded miles, no empty miles again. This has been a very nice week from that perspective. Paying $4,000 for the average of 485 per mile, 40,000 pounds of packaging materials. All in all, 7 days of work, Wednesday to Wednesday. Patrick grossed $12,980 for the truck, for 2,689 loaded miles, 136 empty miles, totaling 2,825 miles, for 483 on the loaded miles and 459 on the total miles. A very good example of how to properly run a week. 5 loads, very solid work on every end, very good rate per mile. Ran the clock very efficient. Good job, everybody. Next off we have Mike. Mike is hauling a reefer. He had 3 loads this week. One of them he sure started strong with a 1-pig 6-dropper, picking up in Dayton, Oregon, delivering in Bryan, Ohio, Holland, Ohio, Perrysburg, Ohio, Norwalk, Ohio, Chesterland, Ohio, and North Canton, Ohio. 2,599 loaded miles, 22 empty miles, paying $8,200 for the average of 316 per mile. Very good rate for those long miles. This was a load of nursery, obviously. Temperature set between 35 and 45 degrees. Second load of the week was also a 1-pig 2-dropper, Wooster, Ohio, going to Rochester, New York, and Baldwinsville, New York. 381 loaded miles, 39 empty miles, paying $1,840 for the average of 483 per mile. 22,000 pounds of sour cream. Temperature set at 35 degrees. Light load, good rate, just the way we like it. Third load of the week, Syracuse, New York to Ashland, Virginia. 456 loaded miles, 13 empty miles, paying $1,750 for the average of 384 per mile. 38,000 pounds of milk. Temperature set at 35 degrees. All in all, Thursday to Thursday, 7 days of hard work, paid off at $11,790 gross. Very nice work. For 3,436 loaded miles, only 74 empty miles through the week, totaling 3,510 miles for the average of 343 on the loaded miles and 336 on the total. Great week for Mike. Very high gross amount, high average per mile. Loads were not that heavy, so very smooth work. Very smooth work on everybody's end. Thank you guys. Then lastly, we have David. David is hauling a dry van. Started off the week in Goodyear, Arizona, going to Concord, North Carolina. 2,088 loaded miles, 19 empty miles, paying $6,000 for the average of 287 per mile, 3,000 pounds of empty cans. Very light load, very nice rate. Second load of the week, Mooresville, North Carolina, going to Fremont, Indiana. 601 loaded miles, 22 empty miles, paying $1,800 for the average of $3 a mile, 40,000 pounds of glass. And then the last load of the week, Pawpaw, Michigan, going to Severn, Maryland. 633 loaded miles, 83 empty miles, paying $3,200 for the average of 506 per mile. Very nice rate. Heavy load, 44,000 pounds of food products. All in all, Thursday to Thursday, 7 days of work, paid off at $11,000 on the gross for 3,322 loaded miles, 124 empty miles, totaling 3,446 miles for the average of 331 on the loaded miles and 319 on the total. Very good job, David. $11,000 in 7 days of work. Good job, dispatch. You guys are making a great team, getting these good rates. I do want to also mention the fact that it has been DOT week, which probably had something to do with the rates. I'm guessing some of the guys have not been running just to avoid possible violations or out of services. So yeah, but this is the work we did this week, and I hope everybody enjoys it. Share it with others. Share your work so we can see what you've been doing. We're always excited to share that. And looking forward to hearing in the comments what you think about the loads we've been booking. Thanks for watching the video. This is Kevin with the trucker side. Our whole team is always on the trucker side. Have a good day.